Good evening, folks. This is Josh from Operational Speed Supply. Tonight, we are talking to Junior from Turn One Steering. What's going on, brother?
Hey, not a whole lot. Thanks for having me. Appreciate it.
Oh, man. Thanks for coming on. How's things been going up there in Michigan?
Oh, we're staying busy. It's getting a little warmer, so that's nice.
You guys finally break out of that ice box?
Yeah, a little bit.
I
now
mean,
we're just kind of floating.
it
Got a lot
pushed
of
you
rain.
down south about a month ago, man. You guys had to come down and race with us for a couple days.
Yeah, that was awesome. The event was great. I had a blast.
Yeah, man. You and Mark put some serious hurting down on some lap times. I'm pretty sure both of you guys ran top 10 overall for the Clarksville Autocross event.
I was 11th. I was just behind you. Mark was somewhere 7th or 8th.
We don't need to talk about me being 10th now. Come on now. Put on an event, you can't be running 10th. I mean,
oh, hey, no.
No, that's good, man. That's good stuff.
No,
So
yeah, it was a blast. I had an awesome time. That was my first time, so I was happy. It was fun.
We try to have a good time down here, man. I mean, the course is short, but I wish you would have been able to make it down for this last event. We did some changes, and put it this way, I was hitting the rev limiter in 2 different spots on the course. It was fast. It was very fast. So it was we had a good time. Chris Wheatcraft came in and took second place again. He was literally right knocking on the door, fast time of the day again.
That's that Camaro, isn't it, with the leaf springs?
Yeah, 73 Camaro with leaf springs, man. We're starting to call him Leaf Spring Wheatcraft. But he put down some serious time, and I think what's impressive is that the first time he got inched out by a Z06 vet that ironically used to be his vet. And this time he got inched out by a Tesla Plaid.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
Those
Teslas, when those Teslas are hooked up, man, they're hard to beat.
Oh, they definitely are. So it was good times though, man. It was a lot of fun.
Oh, good.
So big thing, man. You're from Turn One Steering, and the leader in steering boxes, power steering pumps, rack unit rebuilds, things like that in the industry. So let's tell us a little bit about Turn One. What makes you guys special?
No, we're just a small family-owned company over here in Saginaw, Michigan. Just trying to do our best to serve people in the power steering, side of things. We focus a lot on quality. That's what got us to where we are today. So that, quality is really the name of our game. We pay attention to everything. We look at everything. We make sure everything's working properly, so we can give the end user, the customer, the best power steering unit that they can get, whether that be a rack rebuild, a box rebuild, a power steering pump, even a flow restrictor or a fitting. It's just whatever we sell or do, we just try to do it to the best of our abilities, to solve problems. That's really what we're about.
Well, you got that big NASCAR banner in the background there. I mean,
Yep.
So how did you guys get your start?
Well, I got started in NASCAR. My dad worked at Saginaw Steering, and he was working on the C5 Corvette steering side of things. He was a steering engineer on that project, and the chassis engineer that was working with him quit, halfway through the project or whatever. Went to work at Hendrick Motorsports, and they were having all kinds of steering issues at the time. So they called my dad, and my dad went down there, and it just kind of snowballed from there. He was just literally going door to door. Started this thing in our garage, and outgrew that. Went to the pole barn, outgrew that, built a building, and we just moved last year to another facility, so we can move our CNC machine inside or in-house, so we can do our own pulleys and fittings and stuff like that. But
man, that's awesome.
Yeah, it just all kind of snowballed. It started in NASCAR, and we just kind of worked our way down.
Yeah, that's awesome. I mean, is it coincidence that it coincides with Jeff Gordon and Jimmy Johnson pretty much taking NASCAR?
Well, Jeff Gordon, we were a part of, the 97, 98 championships. We started working with them in 96. So Terry Labonte at Hendrick Motorsports would have won then.
The old Kellogg's number 5 car.
Yep, Kellogg's number 5 car. And we've done work with RCR, Roush, Hendrick, Petty, Gibbs, you name it. Stuart Haas. We worked with all those guys at one point or another, and it just kind of, blew up. Really, it was really cool for me. Being 8, 9, 10 years old. Being able to travel and see all the race shops, meet the drivers, meet the crew, walk through the shops, do all that kind of stuff. I mean, when you're a kid in those kind of situations, they let you do pretty much whatever you want. I got put decals on cars and sit on pit boxes and sit in cars and all that kind of stuff. And, that really just kind of solidified my love for motorsports and, driving and all that kind of stuff. It just really had a huge impact on me when I was growing up.
That's awesome, man. But I think the big point behind all of that is that your guys' products are good enough for NASCAR teams to tear it up week in and week out. Yeah. It's good enough for a Pro Touring car to tear it up on the autocross course. So
well, and that's the thing, the same, we could, if you bought a power steering pump today, it's probably getting built right in with a bunch of stuff going to NASCAR teams. We don't differentiate. We build the best that we can for any of our clients. So whether that be NASCAR or just a local guy running around the Clarksville Autocross.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
No, that's awesome. So, and it's cool too to see, you guys got your start, but now it's kind of transformed, and you're still building stuff for NASCAR. You're still very heavily involved in that, but you're also involved in a lot of other stuff. UMI Motorsports Park for one of them.
Yeah, partnering with UMI, sponsoring that racetrack and watching that grow into what it is today. I mean, I never would have thought that when they bought that and said, "Hey, we're going to do this." I never would have thought it would have turned into what it is today. I mean, they're holding 4 or 5 events. The biggest autocross event in the country in August there. I mean, Ryan and all those guys over there, I mean, they just hit it out of the park. I mean, it is a great facility. It's a great time. I mean, it's just a blast. I mean, just being a vendor and being there is a blast.
Oh, it's so you bring that up, and it's a blast to be there. So last year was the first time I'd ever been able to participate at the track, and now I've known Ramey and Ryan and a few folks from UMI for a better part of 6-7 years now, and we've gotten to know each other through racing at other events, whether Good Guys or LS Fest or what have you. But going up there, it's a different atmosphere. I mean, you're racing on a banked oval, and part of that is where you're getting after it. Yeah. But not only that, but the family atmosphere. The barbecue afterwards and hanging out, and and the lunches on the during the middle of the day, and the entertainment they bring in. It's always it's a great time. And
it is. Yeah.
Last year, my 10-year-old son came with me up there to the first event, the Team Cross.
Okay.
And it's funny. He asked me, he's like, we started OSS Parts, 2 years ago now, just a hair under 2 years ago. And he asked me, he's like, when are we gonna have a billboard up here? And I said, I don't know, buddy, maybe one day. And fast forward to a year later, and we started looking at where we wanted to try to outreach to, and it made sense for us to jump on board with UMI and support the Motorsports Park just the same. I mean, they helped us get our start, and we definitely have developed a really good relationship. And so it's been awesome, man. We're gonna, we're sharing a little bit of that spotlight with you guys as a vendor at the Motorsports Park. It's an exciting feeling. I can't wait to be up there this year as a vendor and a participant.
Yeah, that'll be cool. Yeah, I get to participate a little bit this year, so that'll be fun. Been looking forward to that for a long time.
Yeah, that's awesome. So you and Mark Gullivan teamed up this year, isn't that right?
Yep. Mark Gullivan's been gracious enough to let us borrow his a 2002 C5 Corvette. Let us do some upgrades to the steering side of things and run it at a few events this year. So we're really looking forward to that. Should be a blast.
That's awesome, man. It's exciting. You know, Chris Reinhardt just commented talking about Corn Dog Corner is badass. Well, now you get to experience that Corn Dog Corner.
Oh yeah, I'm looking forward to that one. I don't know how well I'm gonna do, but I mean, most of my racing experience is only going left. But
Yeah,
I'm looking forward to the challenge for sure.
those that off camber slalom is gonna be a little bit of a loop, huh?
Oh yeah, yeah. The off-camber slalom is not going to be my friend. I can guarantee you that.
You know, the first time I ran that thing, I spun my car out, man. So you know, it's par for the course. If you don't spin out once at UMI, then you're not trying hard enough.
So you're telling me I need to spin out?
I mean, I know, you know, Brian Pico, good buddy of mine and partner, he spun out too. He ends up in the grass, and then they memed him. So I don't know, man. If you leave UMI being memed, I think you have taken the top prize.
Well, I don't know if I want that prize. Mark, I'm sorry if you're watching. I don't plan on doing anything bad to your car. I promise.
Oh man, that's too funny. So yeah, it's exciting. Yeah, don't. Valerie says, "Don't spin. You'll give Mark a heart attack."
Yeah, I know. Thanks, Val.
You know, chances are Mark's
I give
probably
myself a heart
next
attack.
to you. Yeah. So Ramey brings up a good question. Why are your pumps the best? So let's talk power steering pumps for a minute. What?
Well, our power steering pumps are a lot different from anybody else's. They're not just a typical street car pump. We design them to reduce horsepower consumption, reduce fluid temperature, so they live in a high RPM range better than a stock one would, and a lot of our competitions will. But then we also tune them specifically for the application. So depending on what the application is, you know, depending on like what you're running in the front end for suspension, what you're running in the front end for tires and width, if you're running aero, you know, all that kind of stuff adds wheel load. So we make sure that we tune the pump, you know, to be able to handle that load. You know, we see a lot of guys that, you know, they'll add 315s and just go out and play. Well, when you go to 315s and just go out and play, you're adding a lot of wheel load there.
Yeah,
So you got to make sure that the power steering pump can keep up with that.
that's a lot of tire to turn.
Yeah, it is, and it's a lot more tie rod end load. And a lot of guys don't think about that. You know, a lot of guys, you know, the power steering system is the last thing they upgrade.
Start upgrading that thing once it's whining at the end of 2 hot laps on the autocross course.
Yeah, and then they have a problem.
Yeah,
and that's the one thing that, you know, we don't want anybody to, you know, have those issues. You know, even if, you know, they buy our products or not, you know, we try and be proactive and tell people, you know, what they got to do, you know, before that problem happens. You know, we don't want anybody to have a failure, regardless of, you know, whether, you know, I mean, yeah, if they have a failure, we have a really good opportunity to sell a pump, but, you know, we don't want them to have a failure and, you know, have issues with their car or anything like that. So
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So when we run, you know, when, you know, someone picks up one of your guys' pumps, or what do you guys recommend as far as fluid goes, and how, what maintenance wise, like how often do you recommend intervals on changing that fluid?
Well, I mean, I would follow your, you know, your standard service procedure for, you know, whatever you do for fluids. I mean, obviously, if you're running it hard, you know, I would recommend probably changing it at least once a season. But fluid wise, you know, we don't claim to be fluid experts in any way, shape, or form. You know, a lot of our guys, I mean, running a full synthetic power steering fluid is definitely going to be your best bet. Good name brand. A lot of our guys tend to like Redline.
Yeah.
But
We we happen to be a Redline dealer too.
Hey, there you go. Buy Redline fluid from Josh here at OSF. There you go. You'll be all set. But yeah, I mean, Redline, Driven, you know, Royal Purple makes one. It's a little bit, you know, on the expensive side, but it does the job. Amsoil, I think, has one. Mobile had one at one time. I don't know if they still do or not. But anything good name brand, you know, full synthetic power steering fluid, especially for, you know, doing, you know, this kind of stuff, autocross, road course, that kind of thing.
Oh yeah, definitely. So Garage engineering. That's a good Matt Burney, good buddy of ours. He's one of our drivers in the operational groups.
Okay.
Rocking 87 Camaro.
Okay.
It is a very well put together Camaro, and he's still running the old school small block on that thing. And he's asking what kind of options do you guys have for any of the older Chevy small blocks?
Well, I mean, you can go about it a couple of different ways. I mean, we offer what we offer is based off of a GM Type 2 style power steering pump.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not going to be a direct bolt in, but depending on I mean, I'd have to ask him, but I know at some point in the late 80s, they went to a serpentine system.
Yeah.
I don't remember what year that was, but if you're running if you're running the serpentine system, we actually have a kit that will, swap that out,
Really?
swap out your original Saginaw P pump.
Yeah.
And you can retrofit a GM Type 2 pump in there. It basically comes with the pump, the bracket, the adapter plate basically, and the pulley. And it's just a bolt-in deal. But for the older small block stuff, like the V-belt stuff, we do have some small block Chevy bracketry, we have a block mount and then a head mount. And you can go about it a couple of different ways. If you want to run a remote reservoir, you can do that. We can build a pump to suit that. Or you can go integral. I always try and recommend integral if you got the room, just because it keeps everything nice, tight, compact.
Yeah.
Then, you don't have, the extra leak points and all that kind of stuff too. And finding a place to mount it. But, you can always do something like that. And then if you're running a V-belt system, we've gravitated more towards the serpentine stuff. So I don't have a V-belt pulley that I could sell today. But you can get the V-belt pulleys pretty much anywhere.
Yeah.
But we can definitely, depending on what you plan on doing with the vehicle and all that kind of stuff, we can definitely build you a pump and get you, whether it be a head mount bracket or a block mount bracket, we can get you hooked up.
No, that's awesome.
Yeah.
No, that's awesome. So what are the plans for this year? What events are you going to be running in the vet?
Well, so right now we're looking at doing the Good Guys in Des Moines in July, doing Columbus, Ohio, Good Guys in July, doing the Autocross Challenge at UMI at the end of July, King of the Mountain in August, and then LS Fest in September.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, we're just going to do the autocross at LS Fest. We're not going to do, the road course and all that kind of stuff. We'll just keep it at the autocross.
Keep it simple.
Yeah. Yep.
I tell you, I've ran the LS Fest quite a few times back when I had a 5th gen, and it's a blast to run that event.
Okay.
A lot of fun. I had a great time when I had that 5th gen. Last year, we went up there as spectators. I'm still running old school small block in the Camaro, and so I went up and we spectated. And I'll tell you, spectating was almost as good of a time as being able to be behind the wheel. A little more relaxed. You're not worried about performance in the car or anything like that. So it was a good time. I the competition is always stiff there, and it's a lot of fun, and they make a really good course. So
and we've been there in some capacity, whether we've been walking or exhibiting for probably the last 5 or 6 years now. Mm-hmm. And I can't imagine having a car there to run and still be trying to do business at the same time. It's just it's so spread out, the vendors being all the way down by the drag strip, and then it's a good half-mile walk, it feels like, to get up and around. So we're gonna be bringing a kind of a expanded crew, if you will, so we can have a couple people staying at the booth, and then
make sure you got the golf cart too, man. You got to have that golf cart back and forth.
Dude, we've been looking for a golf cart, but we don't want to break the bank getting a golf cart. There was
Oh
one for
gosh,
free.
man, we've been doing
There
the
was one
same
for free
thing.
up the road here. It looked like somebody drove it through a ditch, like upside down. And I stopped and looked at it, and it's like there's nothing left underneath it. There was no motor, no nothing. It's like
It's too many
no.
Arnold Palmers on the golf course.
Yeah, I think that's what happened. But man, it was like, nope, I'm out. And by the time I came back home, it was gone. So somebody took it. But it's like, man, I need something between free and probably about $2,000. But
Yeah.
they don't come up like that.
No,
Not
man,
around here, at
they
least.
don't. They don't. But it's a great time up there.
Oh yeah.
It's awesome, man. So it looks like we're gonna be we'll be able to race together July at the Autocross Challenge, and then again at the King of the Mountain event. So
Yeah, no, I'm looking forward to that.
that's gonna be a lot of fun, man. And
Yeah.
is this gonna be your first year participating at King of the Mountain?
Yeah. Yep.
Well, you
Yep.
know what's awesome about that? That makes you eligible. So OSS and Ramey announced it last week on the SITREP, but OSS is locked in as the Rookie of the Year sponsor for this year.
Oh,
So we're gonna put what that looks like together here in the coming weeks. But you're gonna be eligible for that first year participant.
oh, that'll be fun.
Yeah, man, it's gonna be an awesome deal.
I wonder what other ringers are going to be coming in for this that are going to be first-time participants.
I don't know, man. But, we announced that we're gonna be bringing all the folks out.
Yeah, I know, right?
No, that's cool. So yeah, Val brings up a good point. It's less work when you're not racing 100%. Brian Pico says that he's changed his mind about LS Fest, but I think we all need to talk him into going.
I would definitely go.
Yeah, Brian, you got to go, man. Everyone's
yeah, Brian, come on.
You ain't got to work a booth or anything. I'll handle all that. You just put the car on track.
Yeah, you got to represent.
Well,
right?
And you can't forget too. It's not just about the racing. It's the hangout afterwards. I mean,
is Boyer gonna host?
I don't know. Well, you know what, my wife Audrey and I we talked about hosting a party at the motorhome ourselves. We plan on heading up there. Nice. The only thing with Beach Bend is it's a non-reservation campground, so you have got to get there early.
Ooh.
So getting there early, and honestly, we primitive camped last year and just ran off the RV's ability to be self-contained. And I'll tell you right now, that was the best thing we could have done. We were clear in the back. There was nobody around us. Let the dogs run free, have a good time. The kids could go roam free and get worried about running into somebody's car or getting ran over.
Right.
So
nice.
It was a nice setup. So yeah, most definitely plan on having the party. And if we set up at the back like that, if it gets a little out of hand, people want to have fun, you know what? We're in the back. No one's going to hear us.
Yeah.
So I think, yeah, definitely. Brian, you got to be there, dude. So, oh yeah, Brian says it's his wife, Tanya. It's her birthday weekend. So, all right, Tanya, if you're watching, we will throw you an awesome birthday party, complete with confetti, exhaust smoke, and tire rubber.
There you go.
Oh man, that's too funny. Well, yeah, man. So it's going to be an exciting summer. It's a lot to look forward to. I, for one, cannot wait to get back up to UMI and run. And it's going to be cool to be able to get up there and try to get an understanding of what you're talking about, being a vendor up there and the excitement that brings to everything, as well as putting the car on track.
Yeah, I mean, UMI. I mean, we've been there since they started that whole thing. So what's it been, 4 years now, 5 years? And every time we go up there, it's just, they're hospitable, you have a good time, you get to talk to customers and potential customers. You get to help solve problems. I mean, and then this year we get to compete. So, I mean, you can't beat that. I mean, they bring it all into one spot. It's great.
No, definitely. Well, and what they have done up there, we've tried to bring and kind of turn our little spin on it and kind of try to replicate that here. And
oh yeah, well, I think you guys did. I mean, the event that I came down for, I mean, you guys did an awesome job. I mean, we got 8 runs in that
Yeah.
day. I mean, you had 50 plus cars there. I mean, you guys did an awesome job. I mean, it was a great event. I mean, I can't say a whole lot from the driving perspective, but just, you know, one of the events that I've been to, I mean, that was definitely one of the higher ranking ones. I mean,
Well, thank
it
you.
was just an awesome weekend. I
Well,
mean,
I tell you, I would love to have you come back down again.
oh man, I'd love to. If gas wasn't 5 something a gallon for the
I know it,
diesel,
man.
I mean, I'd be there in a heartbeat.
I know it. It is a bit of a haul, and I'll tell you, for guys like you and Mark came down both for our season opener, and it was awesome to have you both down there.
Oh yeah.
But you know what's interesting about what we've got here is a lot of our events are kind of dependent on the military personnel showing up. We've got Fort Campbell Army Base here, and if they're out training or they're deployed, you lose a lot of your numbers, just because that's where a lot of our people that are driving and participating. And I'll tell you, one thing that was really cool for our most recent event last week is the entire element, the Army unit here was out training in the field. So we had no participants there. And then we had a bunch of others that were at other training situations, things like that. So the majority of anyone that would have came from the Fort Campbell Army Base weren't there because they weren't physically in the town, in this area at the time. And we still had 43 cars show up.
Wow.
And so for a large portion, I can, off the top of my head, I can think of 10 drivers that would have been there had they not been training or, someplace else. And so the fact that we were able to pull in 43 cars, it was an awesome thing. So the event's growing, and we're working on adding a car show to it and kind of creating our own little car show and autocross. So it's exciting.
Yeah, no, man. I mean, you guys are doing an awesome job. I just say keep it up. They will come. You build it, they'll come. Right?
No kidding. So yeah, man, it's a lot of fun, and I think the big thing is just getting folks out there and watching them have a good time, and then you see the rivalries start to show. It's the guy that showed up with the Tesla. He was at our first season opener, and after that finished, he called me up right after, and he's like, "I need tires." And I'm like, okay. So we got him set up with a good set of 200 tread tires, and then comes out the next weekend and he sets fast time of the day and ends up winning in his class, and he's all excited, and he's going off the deep end. But what's wrong with going off the deep end and racing? I say jump head first. That's what I say. So it's cool to see that. And it's funny, Tesla's got that big screen in the center of the car that kind of gives you the readout on everything.
Okay.
Well, we finally got live timing set up for the event, which was a huge addition. He pulls up into the pits after his runs, and I go to talk to him and see how he's doing. He's got live timing pulled up on the screen. He's like, "Oh man, I got him by a 1/10 on that one." And I'm like, "Right on, man." He knew instantaneous where he was at. We haven't gotten the scoreboard up yet, so it was cool to have people have that ability, and it made a good time.
Yeah.
And last thing I want to kind of bring up with the autocross, and you and Mark were a huge part of this for our first event, and the momentum carried forward. So after the first event, we raised $249 in donations for the Emily Whitehead Foundation, and it was awesome. Yep. Well, the next day we were doing our event recap, and we had an anonymous donor reach out to us, and they wanted to help us reach an even 500 for the event. So we had an anonymous donation of $251.
Nice.
Which was awesome. So first event, we knock it out of the park with $500 donation. We move into our next event, which was only 2 weeks later. And same thing. We raised another $152 for the Whitehead Foundation, the Emily Whitehead Foundation. And I think what's awesome is the momentum is continuing forward. And I'm hoping to see $2,000 for the Emily Whitehead Foundation when we show up to King of the Mountain in August.
That's amazing.
People just want to put their hands out and give back, and I was talking to Ramey from UMI a couple of weeks ago, right before he came onto our SITREP, and we were talking about it, that we're fortunate to begin with. We have the ability to go out and race and have fun and do what we love to do. but at the same time, we remember who we are, and we're still able to give back to those that may not have, or give back to that can help others. And so I think that's an awesome testament to the kind of people you find racing and the things that we, the people that we're able to spend time with.
Yeah, yeah, and I think the the autocross community, if you want to call it that. I mean, they're very tight knit.
Yeah.
I come from circle track, right? So I mean, you don't really have friends, in the pit. You don't
Yeah.
have that camaraderie. You're all trying to beat each other, or, whatever, on the track, but you know, at an autocross event, you're still trying to beat each other, but you're, you're not, you're, you're sitting there drinking a beer together, at the same time,
Yeah.
or well, not at the same time, but you know what I mean?
Not while we're driving, but post race.
Yeah, yeah. But I mean, I had friends at the racetrack, but as soon as the helmets went on, you didn't have friends.
Yeah.
You were out to win and beat everybody else, and that's what you were there for. You
Yeah.
didn't hang out in the pits after. I mean, at least I didn't. I mean, I know there are people that do that at circle track events, and there's but that the autocross community is just completely different from that. The competitiveness of it doesn't carry over. As soon as that run's done, it's
Yeah.
done. It's really cool to see, and how everybody just comes together, to help, the Emily Whitehead Foundation and all those other charities, like through UMI and all that kind of stuff. I know they were doing something for ALS, and
Yeah.
stuff like that. Just to watch all that happen is just really cool. And having a venue and an outlet like UMI is just great. I think it's awesome.
No, most definitely. And so it is. It's just it's a great thing. So
Yeah.
before we get ready to wrap up here, Ramey wants to hear an oval track story from you, Junior.
What kind of oval track story does he want to hear?
I don't know. You know what? I'll start this off because I've only got very limited oval track experience.
Okay.
So I'll tell you a story about my first time in the oval track experience, and this is when I met Tom and Val Pichette.
Okay.
And it
Were
was
you at
the
Daytona?
yeah, I wish. No, it was down here in Nashville. It was the Nashville Fairground Speedway.
Okay.
Very historic track. It's been around for about 60 years, and a lot of the greats raced on there long ago.
Yep.
Well, we go there, run to Music City. It was an event ran by the American Streetcar Series, and they had set up a roval, a speed stop challenge, and then an autocross course.
Okay.
And so on the I was getting out on the roval, and basically it started in the pits, and you went through the little quarter-mile figure-8 oval they had in the center of the track, and then you got back up on the banks, and the Fairground Speedway is about 26, 27 degrees banking. It's pretty steep.
Yeah. Oh yeah, it's a nice bull ring for sure.
Oh yeah, man, it definitely is. And so I get up there, and I'm running good. I'm running really good. I had a really fast time, and I'm out there getting comfortable and everything, and so I'm trying different lines. I'm trying it low. I'm trying it in the middle. I'm trying it high, trying to think I'm Dale Jr. out there running the high line around this bull ring, right?
Yeah.
Well, coming out of turn 4, there was a weird transition where the ground below had set a little bit, and you get this weird transition coming out of 4 into the straight. I came out of 4 with the foot, my foot into it, just tearing it up. And the car kind of walked out on me in the back end. And I'm not going to say it was by any driving talent. This was sheer stupidity. This is 10 years ago. Back end of the car kicked out, and I just did a minor correction, kept my foot into it, and kept going. Well, I get back to the pits, and then Val and Tom and a few others are looking at me, and their eyes are about this big, and they're just like, "Are you okay?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I'm fine. What's the deal?" They're like, "Dude, your car was literally pointing at the pits as you came out of that road." And I'm like, "Wow." So yeah, man, it was pretty crazy. I about put the car into the wall, my first oval track experience. So,
well, I mean, my first experience on the oval track doesn't really count because it was go-karts.
yeah.
My first oval track experience in a car, so it was practice, and we were in a street stop, So, I mean, kind of a, more of a full blown race car than like, like a lead sled or something like that. But, so I haul off into 3 and going a little bit faster than I should have been the first time out. And I got a little tight and just kept pushing and pushing and pushing. And I'm pushing on the brakes. And I tried to give it a little bit of gas, bring the back end around, and she just went straight right into the wall. Yeah,
Dang,
so
man, that's freaking rough.
that was, yeah. I made about, I don't know, 3 laps, and then I wrecked the car. So, I mean, my first practice in an oval track was not pretty. I mean, I went from go karts to cars, um, pretty quick, and it just didn't. It didn't work out very well. So we took a couple years off.
Yeah, man.
Until I got a
So,
little bit more experience.
Ramey's asking about the ride you had a year or 2 ago. And Valerie quoted it with, "You think he needs new shorts." So what you tracking anything on that? Ramey's
Well, I ran a couple of pro late model races in 2018. Basically, it was a a template bodied late model with a crate engine. We ran one of the biggest races in the country. It was called Master of the Pros. It was held at a track about 15 minutes south of me here, my home track. So I raced that a couple years ago. That was probably the best run I've had in a pro late model to date. So that was good. It was a 200 lap race. I ended up finishing 12th against some of the biggest names in the country. But I survived. I finished. I ran all the laps. So that was a blast. Running a late model. That is, I love that. That's where my heart is. I love that stuff. I love the circle track stuff. But that was an achievement for me personally, just being able to do that and say I did it.
That's awesome, man.
I hadn't had a lot of success in that. I didn't have, when I ran late models back early 2010s. There, I didn't have the money. I didn't have the funding to do what I needed to do and be able to devote what I needed to devote to it. So I was running kind of on a shoestring budget, and I just wasn't able to do everything that I wanted to accomplish. I mean, I haven't won any championships. I haven't won any races in those. I mean, I won championships in races and pure stocks, but they're completely different beasts, completely different animal. But
I can only imagine, man. And
it's
you know what?
fun.
I remember that, Val. She said the shorts were about me. But I know Ramey says, coming in 12th in that race is amazing. And I'll tell you, I think that there's something that people don't realize when it comes to, those late model cars. They are a different beast.
Oh.
And it's something to be said to be able to put yourself in a car with a pack of other cars and be able to run with that. I mean, that takes a whole different type of driver. And I think people tend to forget about that. So yeah. Man, that's awesome.
I mean, I enjoyed it. I had a blast. I'd do it again in a heartbeat. But I enjoyed doing this autocross thing too. I'd like to get a little bit more seat time before I came to the mountain for sure. But running you guys' event down there, I had a blast. It was not what I expected. I was more comfortable than what I expected myself to be. When I, standing there watching it all I see is a sea of cones,
Yeah.
But once you're in the driver's seat, it just kind of makes sense,
Yeah.
So, no, I'm looking forward to having fun.
Well, that's awesome, man. Well, we're looking forward to seeing you up there.
Yeah.
Junior, I just want to say thanks for having you come on tonight, man. Definitely appreciate it, and can't wait to see you guys up at the track again. Turn one steering. If you want the best steering, whether it's power steering pumps, steering boxes, or racks in the industry, that's your go-to. So
thank you very much.
Again, thank you for coming on, and we're looking forward to seeing you guys. And for all you that are out there chatting and watching us, thanks for tuning in. It's making it pretty special. We're seeing the viewers add up every week, and it's awesome to have a crowd hanging out with us. So you guys have a good night, and again, Junior, take it easy.
Hey, you too. Thanks. Appreciate the opportunity. Have a good night.